Imagine arriving in a new country at just 18 years old, completely alone. You have barely any money, no real plan, and you're carrying the immense pressure of two different cultures, feeling like you don't fully belong to either one. This was the reality for a young Bruce Lee when he landed in San Francisco in 1959. He had no fame, no certainty, and absolutely no safety net. But what he did bring with him was a set of ideas that would not just challenge, but completely revolutionize the world of martial arts forever. Bruce Lee didn't just come to America to find his fortune, he came to find himself. After a brief stay in San Francisco, he moved north to Seattle. It was there, while finishing high school and later enrolling at the University of Washington, that the seeds of his legend began to sprout, and it wasn't in a gym or a dojo, but in the halls of academia. Bruce chose to study philosophy. This decision was pivotal. It would fundamentally shape not only how he fought, but how he approached life itself. For Bruce, combat was never just a series of physical movements or ancient traditions. It was a form of honest, raw self-expression. While studying, Bruce started teaching martial arts to his fellow students. Now, this might sound simple, but at the time, it was a quiet rebellion. There were unwritten, yet strictly followed, rules that martial arts should only be taught within specific ethnic communities. Bruce saw this as a limitation, a barrier to knowledge. He believed that wisdom wasn't something to be hoarded or guarded, it was meant to be shared with anyone willing to learn. This open-door policy was the first step in breaking down walls that had stood for centuries. As word of his unique teaching style spread, his reputation grew. People were drawn to his practical, no-nonsense approach. Bruce wasn't just teaching a single, rigid style. He was blending the foundations of Wing Chun with the power of Western boxing, the agile footwork of fencing, and his own relentless experimentation. He took what worked, discarded what didn't, and constantly refined his methods. This wasn't just about mixing and matching, it was about evolution. He officially opened his first martial arts school, the Jun Fan Kung Fu Institute, in Seattle, and it became a laboratory for his developing ideas. It was out of this melting pot of techniques and philosophies that something truly revolutionary began to take shape. This was the birth of Jeet Kune Do. But Bruce was always clear, Jeet Kune Do was not a new style. It was a philosophy of movement, a way of thinking. Its core principles were radical for their time. It emphasized simplicity over complicated, flashy techniques. It prioritized efficiency and directness over blind adherence to tradition. And above all, it valued adaptability over rigidity. Bruce famously captured this philosophy in one of his most iconic quotes: "Absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, add what is uniquely your own." This was his guiding principle. He encouraged his students not to mimic him, but to find their own truth in combat. The goal wasn't to become a copy of Bruce Lee, but to become the most effective and authentic version of themselves. This was a radical departure from the traditional master-student dynamic, where imitation was often the highest form of respect. Naturally, these ideas were met with fierce resistance. Many traditional martial arts masters were outraged. They accused him of disrespecting ancient customs and breaking sacred rules. To them, he was a brash upstart who was bastardizing their art form. The criticism was intense, and at times, it led to direct challenges. But for every critic, there were dozens of students who were captivated by his vision. They were drawn to his incredible speed, his undeniable power, and the profound clarity of his teachings. They saw a path to not just becoming a better fighter, but a better, more disciplined human being. While his mind was developing these groundbreaking philosophies, his body was undergoing an equally radical transformation. Bruce Lee trained with an intensity that became legendary. His workouts were a brutal mix of strength training, endurance, and skill drills. Every push-up, every kick, every punch was performed with absolute precision and purpose. His physique became a testament to his beliefs: lean, powerful, and built for function, not just for show. The famous one-inch punch, the two-finger push-ups, these weren't party tricks. They were demonstrations of what the human body could achieve when mind, body, and spirit were perfectly aligned. He was proving his philosophies through his own physical capabilities. What was happening here was bigger than martial arts. Bruce was forging a new path. He was uniting the deep, introspective wisdom of the East with the pragmatic, results-driven mindset of the West. He was creating a complete system for self-mastery. It was about controlling your body, focusing your mind, and understanding your spirit. Bruce Lee was no longer just a kid from Hong Kong trying to make it in America. He was becoming something entirely new. He wasn't Eastern. He wasn't Western. He was a bridge between both worlds, and he was just getting started. The foundation he built in those early years in America would soon launch him onto the world stage, changing cinema, culture, and the very definition of a martial artist forever. Thanks so much for watching. If you're inspired by Bruce Lee's journey, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next episode. See you then.